Harley trikes used to rule the road. Now, dealers can't give them away. These 7 models were built to dominate, but they're just collecting dust. Let's count down the trikes Harley-Davidson is begging you to take home. Number 7. Harley-Davidson Freewheeler. This bike was introduced as Harley's bold attempt to bring a stripped-down, cruiser-inspired trike into the world of 3 wheels. Instead of the full-size luxury of a Tri-Glide Ultra or the flash of a Road Glide CVO, this machine aimed for simplicity, raw styling, and a lower entry point. But somewhere along the way, it missed the mark, and now it's sitting in dealerships collecting dust. At a starting price of $29,999, the Freewheeler is far from cheap. Yet for many riders, it just doesn't deliver enough value for the money. On one hand, it's lighter and less intimidating than Harley's full-size touring trikes. On the other hand, it's also missing the very features that most riders shopping for a 3-wheeler actually want. Things like wind protection, infotainment systems, heated grips, and integrated storage just aren't part of the standard package. Let's talk about performance. The Freewheeler is powered by the Milwaukee 8 114V twin engine, producing a strong 100 horsepower and 119 pound-feet of torque. The engine displaces 1,868 cubic centimeters, which gives it more than enough grunt for highway cruising and 2-up riding. Throttle response is smooth, acceleration is confident, and the sound is pure Harley. On paper, this is everything you want in a big American V-twin. But despite that engine performance, the ride experience is where the Freewheeler starts to fall apart for a lot of riders. With no front fairing or windshield, riders are completely exposed to the wind, rain, and road debris. For short city hops, that might be fine, but for longer touring, it quickly becomes exhausting. The seat is also fairly basic, and the rear suspension can feel harsh over rough roads, especially without a passenger or cargo to balance the load. Design-wise, the Freewheeler looks clean, but a little too clean. Harley pushed it as a minimalist trike, but many longtime riders see it as unfinished. It lacks the chrome detailing and commanding presence of the larger touring trikes, and without extra trim or accessories, it doesn't stand out in the way most Harley bikes do. It feels more like a blank canvas than a finished ride, and for 30 grand, riders expect a lot more than a base model. Storage is also limited. While the rear trunk offers some space, it falls short compared to what's available on other trikes in Harley's lineup. There are no standard saddlebags, no touring trunk, and no factory luggage racks. If you want to turn the Freewheeler into a proper touring machine, you'll have to dig deep into the accessories catalog, spending even more on top of an already steep price tag. And that's the biggest problem. The Freewheeler tries to appeal to both cruiser riders and touring fans, but ends up satisfying neither. It's too expensive and heavy for someone looking to downsize from 2 wheels, and it's too basic and stripped down for those who want the comfort of a full touring rig. In short, it lives in the middle. And the middle is where bikes go to be forgotten. Think that's bad? Wait until you see the next trike on the list. A machine that looks like luxury on paper but rides more like a regret. If that kind of deep dive saves you time or your wallet, hit subscribe. There's more coming. Number 6. Harley-Davidson CVO Tri-Glide. Harley designed this machine to be the pinnacle of 3-wheeled touring, loaded with top-shelf features, luxury trim, and a badge that screamed exclusivity from every angle. It was meant to be the ultimate status symbol for riders who wanted comfort, performance, and prestige all wrapped into one powerful 3-wheeler. But instead of flying out of showrooms, it ended up stuck in the very dealerships that were supposed to celebrate its arrival. With a starting price of $54,900, the CVO Tri-Glide is one of the most expensive models Harley-Davidson has ever released. That price tag includes exclusive 2-tone paint, custom wheels, top-of-the-line finishes, and a hand-stitched seat with heated and cooling elements. It also features Harley's premium touring package, including upgraded infotainment, full LED lighting, and enhanced rider assist technology. The engine is Harley's Milwaukee 8 117V twin, delivering 105 horsepower, 125 pound-feet of torque, and an engine displacement of 1,923 cubic centimeters. It's a powerful and capable drivetrain that performs well under load, even when hauling a passenger and full touring luggage. Acceleration is smooth. Highway cruising is effortless, and the torque delivery gives it plenty of passing power in almost any gear. Underneath the limited edition paint and premium touches, it's mechanically almost identical to the Tri-Glide Ultra, which costs nearly $20,000 less. Both bikes share the same frame, suspension, engine platform, and core touring features. That makes the CVO feel like a cosmetic upgrade rather than a truly enhanced ride. Depreciation has also become a major concern. While CVO models have always carried a sense of exclusivity, the resale market has not kept up. Riders who spend over $50,000 on a trike expect to hold on to some of that value, but the Tri-Glide platform depreciates quickly, and many CVO owners have taken a major financial hit when trying to trade in or resell their bikes. That risk has made newer buyers more hesitant to commit. Weight is another challenge. The CVO Tri-Glide tips the scales at 1,274 pounds. While that weight makes it feel planted and stable at high speeds, it also makes parking, low-speed maneuvering, and trailering a serious chore, especially for older riders or those new to trikes. Add a full tank of gas, a passenger, and some loaded luggage, and this trike starts to feel more like a freight hauler than a weekend cruiser. And then there's the identity issue. For a bike priced like a luxury car, the CVO Tri-Glide lacks the individuality many expect. With so few performance differences from its cheaper sibling, riders looking for a statement bike are often underwhelmed. It doesn't offer more power, better handling, or significantly improved comfort, just more polish and a higher number on the price tag. As a result, some dealerships have quietly stopped ordering new CVO Tri-Glides altogether. With low sales and high price sensitivity, it's simply not moving like Harley hoped. The CVO badge still carries weight, but in the case of this trike, that weight might just be holding it back. From luxury letdowns to misunderstood muscle, this next trike had potential but lost its identity on 3 wheels. Number 5. Harley-Davidson Switchback Trike Conversion. It was built for versatility, giving riders the option to switch from a bare-bones cruiser to a light touring setup using quick-release saddlebags and a detachable windshield. When it first hit the market with a starting price at $16,000, riders praised it for being nimble, stylish, and flexible. But once dealerships began pushing trike conversions of the Switchback, everything that made the bike special started to fade. The problem with the Switchback trike conversion lies in the core of its design. This bike was never engineered to be a 3-wheeler. The original chassis was built for agility and 2-wheel dynamics, which made it a great option for riders who wanted a mid-size cruiser that could handle daily use and weekend travel. But converting it into a trike alters the weight distribution, balance, and suspension geometry in ways the frame was never meant to handle. The end result is a trike that looks like a Harley but doesn't ride like one. Performance also takes a hit post-conversion. The Switchback is powered by a twin-cam 103 AV twin engine. It produces 73 horsepower and 98 pound-feet of torque with an engine displacement of 1,690 cubic centimeters. That may sound solid on paper, but once the trike conversion adds significant weight and rolling resistance, the performance feels dulled. Acceleration is slower, cornering is stiffer, and braking distances increase. Riders expecting a smooth transition from cruiser to trike are often surprised at how much effort it takes to control the bike, especially at low speeds or on uneven pavement. Ergonomics are another weak spot. While the original Switchback had a relaxed riding position and was praised for its comfort on longer trips, the trike conversion throws that balance off. The rear suspension varies widely depending on which aftermarket kit was used. Some use solid axles, others use independent setups. The seat height and foot position can also change depending on the trike frame, creating an awkward posture that doesn't match the original design. What was once a confident mid-size cruiser becomes a clunky, hard-to-place 3-wheeler that's neither nimble nor plush. Then there's the issue of support. Since Harley discontinued the Switchback after just a few production years, parts availability is already thinning out. Add a third-party trike conversion into the mix, and maintenance becomes a gamble. Most Harley dealerships won't stock trike conversion-specific components, meaning repairs often involve custom orders, long waits, and higher costs. Riders who buy a Switchback trike have to either rely on the original converter for service or find an independent mechanic willing to take it on. Both options that deter potential buyers. The used market reflects these challenges. Trike conversions based on discontinued bikes carry less resale value, especially when there's uncertainty about build quality or parts compatibility. Riders are less willing to take a chance on a Frankenstein bike, especially when more complete options like the Freewheeler or Tri-Glide Ultra exist at similar price points. The Switchback trike conversion may have seemed like a clever solution to extend the life of a beloved model, but instead it became an example of how forced reinvention can dilute what made made the original great. What was once a flexible and confident midsize cruiser turned into a clumsy, mismatched trike that never quite found its place. And speaking of conversions that backfired, this next trike proves that even a legend can fall flat when reimagined. Number 4. Harley-Davidson Ultra Classic Trike Conversion. This is a machine that promised the best of both worlds, touring comfort and the added stability of 3 wheels. But in reality, it turned into one of the heaviest, most difficult to sell bikes Harley dealerships have had to deal with. What should have been an instant favorite for older touring riders has instead become a hard sell for dealers across the country. The base Ultra Classic in its 2-wheel configuration was already a heavyweight touring icon, known for comfort, long-range capability, and that unmistakable Harley road presence. But when it's converted into a trike, everything changes. And not for the better. Depending on the conversion kit used, the fully converted trike can weigh well over 1,150 pounds. That makes it one of the heaviest 3-wheelers Harley riders can buy. Unlike Harley's factory-built trikes, the Ultra Classic trike conversion does not benefit from factory-engineered geometry, suspension tuning, or optimized weight distribution. The result? A bike that feels awkward and unstable in corners, especially at low speeds or tight turns. Even experienced riders have reported that the handling feels unpredictable and less refined than what you get from a factory trike like the Tri-Glide Ultra or the Road Glide CVO. Under the seat, the Ultra Classic is typically powered by a Milwaukee 8 114V twin engine, which produces 100 horsepower and 122 pound-feet of torque. The engine has an impressive displacement of 1,868 cubic centimeters. On paper, those numbers sound promising, but the engine has to work much harder to push around all that extra weight, especially once you load up for a long trip with a passenger and luggage. One of the biggest functional complaints with these conversions is the lack of a reverse gear. Many aftermarket kits do not include one as standard, making the trike extremely difficult to maneuver in tight spaces or backing out of a parking spot. This is a serious issue, especially for older riders who may be physically relying on the trike format to keep them riding. A trike that can't easily go in reverse becomes a headache rather than a solution. Then there's the cost. A base Ultra Classic can be found in the range of $24,000 to $27,000, depending on condition and year. But when you add in a quality trike conversion kit, often costing anywhere from $12,000 to $20,000, you're suddenly looking at a machine priced north of $40,000. That puts it in the same price bracket as a brand new Tri-Glide Ultra, which includes full warranty coverage, refined engineering, and better resale value. That last point matters. Resale value on converted trikes like the Ultra Classic is generally weaker because buyers are wary of aftermarket parts, inconsistent build quality, and the difficulty of sourcing replacement components. Some of the kits use independent rear suspension, others use solid axles, and not all shops install them to the same standard. That kind of unpredictability turns off riders who want something reliable and easy to service at any Harley dealership. The real issue with the Ultra Classic trike conversion is that it tries to hang on to the nostalgia of the past, while older buyers are moving in a new direction. Today's Harley crowd is prioritizing ease of use, lighter weight, and turnkey functionality. They don't want to wrestle a 1,200-pound trike with no reverse and uncertain handling. They want to get on the bike and ride with confidence. But if you thought that was heavy, this next one brings brute force and no one's buying it. Number 3. Harley-Davidson Road Glide 3. Harley aimed to make a bold statement by combining its iconic shark nose fairing with the stability of a 3-wheeled touring platform, a move that was meant to mark a new era in their trike lineup. On paper, it had everything: a commanding presence, modern styling, and one of the most recognizable front ends in all of motorcycling. But once it hit showroom floors, the excitement didn't last. Instead of flying out the doors, the Road Glide 3 has found itself stuck in a slow lane, overshadowed by its more established siblings. With a starting price of $32,999, the Road Glide 3 enters the market as a premium option. It's meant to sit just below the top-tier CVO models while offering a more aggressive look and a touring-friendly setup. But that price tag immediately raises expectations, and that's where the bike starts to fall short for many riders. The engine powering the Road Glide 3 is the Milwaukee 8 114V twin. It produces a healthy 100 horsepower and delivers 119 pound-feet of torque. Engine displacement comes in at 1,868 cubic centimeters. It is a capable platform designed to pull heavy loads and cruise effortlessly for hours on end. The engine sound is pure Harley. The throttle response is smooth, and the low-end torque makes it an ideal choice for long-distance touring. But power alone isn't enough to sell a trike, especially one that weighs in at 1,286 pounds. That weight gives the Road Glide 3 plenty of stability on highways, but at lower speeds and in urban traffic, it becomes a chore. Maneuvering this machine through tight turns or parking lots is not for the faint of heart, and for many riders, especially those downsizing from heavier two-wheelers, the sheer bulk can be intimidating. Another drawback is the lack of tech features that many riders now expect as standard in this price range. Despite being a touring-oriented trike, the Road Glide 3 does not come with a built-in infotainment system. Riders looking for integrated navigation, audio controls, or smartphone connectivity are left with limited options unless they pay extra for aftermarket upgrades. And in today's market, where even mid-range bikes come loaded with screens and smart tech, this omission is hard to ignore. Comfort-wise, the Road Glide 3 is decent but not groundbreaking. The seat is wide and plush, and the foot positioning is relaxed. The shark nose fairing does a good job of deflecting wind at higher speeds, and the floorboards offer plenty of room for repositioning during long rides. However, some riders feel that the rear suspension doesn't absorb bumps as well as it should, especially when riding solo. For a trike that markets itself as long-distance capable, this shortfall has raised a few eyebrows. One of the biggest issues, though, is simple market saturation. Harley has already carved out a solid place in the trike segment with the Tri-Glide Ultra and the Freewheeler. Both models have loyal followings and proven track records. The Road Glide 3, by comparison, sits awkwardly in the middle, trying to lure riders away from both sides without offering a compelling enough reason. And that's the story of the Road Glide 3, a bold idea that checked all the design boxes but forgot to deliver the real-world touring experience that Harley riders demand. Too heavy, too pricey, but not as niche as the next trike on the list, which feels more like a Frankenstein project than a touring machine. Number 2. Harley-Davidson Dyna Trike Conversion. When Harley discontinued the Dyna lineup in the year 2018, many riders weren't ready to let it go. The Dyna had earned a reputation for being one of the most versatile and aggressive cruisers in Harley's stable. It was light, responsive, and built for riders who wanted to feel every inch of the road. But once the production line stopped, many loyalists turned to aftermarket conversions to keep the spirit of the Dyna alive. This time, on 3 wheels. Unfortunately, what looked good on paper has turned into one of the hardest trikes for dealerships to sell. At its core, the Dyna Trike conversion starts with a used 2-wheel Dyna model, which can run anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 depending on condition and year. Add in a trike conversion kit, which often costs between $12,000 and $20,000, and you're suddenly looking at a total price tag north of $30,000. For that kind of money, most buyers would rather go for a factory-built Harley trike, which is engineered from the ground up to handle 3 wheels with proper geometry, suspension, and weight distribution. Powering most of these conversions is the iconic twin-cam engine found in many late-model Dynas. These engines typically produce around 74 horsepower and 88 pound-feet of torque with a displacement of 1,584 cubic centimeters. While the power figures are respectable, the performance doesn't always translate well once the bike is converted into a trike. The added weight and uneven balance of many kits often create handling quirks that riders notice right away, especially during low-speed turns or emergency braking. Another major problem is the lack of factory support. Once the Dyna line was discontinued, so too went the official supply of new parts and accessories. Most of the conversion kits are made by third-party manufacturers, which means if something goes wrong with the suspension, brakes, or drivetrain, you're not taking it to your local Harley shop for a quick fix. That's a deal breaker for a lot of riders, especially older riders who want a turnkey experience without the hassle of chasing down custom components. Insurance has also become a growing concern. Because these conversions are not certified by Harley and vary widely in build quality, many insurance companies either charge high premiums or refuse to cover them altogether. Combined with limited service networks and hard-to-find replacement parts, the result is a bike that looks good in theory but causes headaches in reality. And then there's the style issue. While some riders love the aggressive stance and stripped-down styling of the Dyna, that look doesn't always translate well to a trike. A lot of potential buyers find the design awkward or incomplete, lacking the polish and comfort features of factory trikes like the Freewheeler or the Tri-Glide Ultra. There are no touring features, no fairings, and no infotainment system. Just a raw, three-wheeled cruiser that's stuck in a confusing middle zone. Not quite custom, not quite practical. This combination of high cost, uncertain quality, limited support, and awkward styling has left Dynatrike conversions stuck in dealerships across the country. While they may hold sentimental value for hardcore fans, they simply don't offer the usability or peace of mind that most trike buyers are looking for. Alright, you've seen bad design and overpriced builds, but the number one trike? It's practically radioactive in dealerships. Number 1. Harley-Davidson Softail Convertible Trike Conversion. This machine was never factory designed to be a trike. Instead, it started life as a two-wheeled Softail and was later modified with an aftermarket conversion kit, and that's where the problems began. What sounded like a brilliant hybrid quickly turned into a mechanical gamble, and today, it's one of the hardest bikes to sell at Harley-Davidson dealerships across the country. The base model Softail Cruiser typically starts around $13,000. However, once you add a trike conversion kit, plus installation, rear-end modifications, suspension changes, and a few touring add-ons, the price can easily balloon past $30,000. That's a steep price for a bike that lacks factory engineering and rides more like a question mark than a Harley legend. At the heart of most Softail conversions is a Milwaukee 8 engine, usually the 114V twin. This power plant delivers around 89 horsepower, 1,175 cubic centimeters of displacement, and 119 pound-feet of torque. Those are respectable numbers, but when matched to a trike chassis that was never officially engineered by the factory, performance becomes unpredictable. Handling feels uneven, cornering becomes sketchy, and ride quality varies wildly depending on the brand and quality of the conversion kit used. That's one of the biggest issues plaguing this bike: consistency. Some conversion kits use solid axles, while others offer independent rear suspension. Some sit higher in the rear, affecting ergonomics. Others come with different wheelbases or altered rake angles. The end result? You never know exactly what you're going to get. Riders expecting a smooth, balanced trike experience are often left disappointed when the ride feels stiff, the steering feels loose, or the bike feels unstable at higher speeds. For first-time trike buyers, it's simply too much to figure out. And for veteran Harley riders who have logged thousands of miles on traditional cruisers or factory trikes, the experience just doesn't compare. They want plug-and-play reliability, not a mystery build. That's why so many of these Softail trike conversions are sitting untouched in back corners of dealership floors. They aren't light enough to appeal to stripped-down cruiser fans, and they aren't luxurious or stable enough to tempt long-distance tourers. Even worse, Harley-Davidson no longer manufactures several of the original Softail models that these conversions were based on. That means sourcing parts, both for the base bike and the conversion components, can be a major hassle. Suspension tuning, braking issues, and ride height adjustments are all more complicated than they need to be. Many buyers would rather just choose a factory-built trike like the Freewheeler or the Tri-Glide Ultra, which offer better ride quality, consistent specs, and dealer support straight out of the crate. In the end, the Softail convertible trike conversion is a machine caught in the middle. It's too expensive for budget-conscious riders, too inconsistent for comfort seekers, and too niche for mainstream buyers. It had promise, but in reality it never found its audience. And now it's one of the most overlooked Harley-Davidson trikes on the market. And that wraps up the 7 trikes Harley dealers are practically begging you to take home. Seen any of these in your local showroom? Drop a comment. And don't forget, like and subscribe to our channel.